The desert stretched out in all directions, glowing red under the fading sun. The research base looked small against the endless sand, its metal walls humming quietly as machines worked inside. Marin walked along the power lines outside, checking for damage. Dust clung to his boots, and sweat rolled down his neck. Out here, silence felt heavier than any sound. Marin had been on this planet for 6 months. He fixed broken conduits, cleared sand from vents, and kept the base's energy systems alive. It was quiet work, almost too quiet. The others on the team liked staying inside, but Marin enjoyed stepping out, even if the heat bit through his suit. He said it kept his head clear. As he moved past the ridge, Marin noticed something strange below. Where yesterday there had only been dry rock, now lay a pool of glowing liquid. It was smooth as glass, no ripples, no reflection of the sky, just a soft silver light, as if the ground itself had opened to show another world. He crouched near the edge. "What are you?" he whispered. There was no wind, but the surface shifted slightly, like it heard him. Marin picked up a small stone and tossed it in. It didn't sink. It didn't even splash. Instead, the pool absorbed the stone like a shadow taking in darkness. The light pulsed once and went still again. Marin touched his wrist communicator. "Ina, you reading this energy spike?" he asked, but the line stayed silent. Either the ridge blocked the signal or the base was busy with its own issues. Curiosity pulled harder than caution. He reached out with a gloved hand. The moment his fingers brushed the surface, the desert vanished from his sight. He saw Earth. Green fields, clean rivers, blue skies with no smog. He saw children running in streets without cracked pavement, markets full of bright fruit, and towers of glass shining in sunlight. It was his home, but better healed, as if all the old problems were gone. The vision faded as quickly as it came. Marin stumbled back, heart racing. "That's impossible," he muttered. "This can't be real." The sun dropped lower. The desert cooled, and long shadows reached toward the pool. Marin considered marking the location and leaving, but something inside him wanted to stay. He stared into the strange light, waiting for more images. Nothing came, only silence and the silver glow. "Not real," he repeated, but the words felt weak. A faint sound drifted over the ridge, boots on sand. Marin turned to see Rollo, the older mechanic, approaching with slow steps. Rollo's suit was scratched from years of work, and his face always looked tired even when he smiled. "You're late getting back," Rollo said. "Commander's worried about the power flow." Marin pointed down to the ridge. "Look. You ever seen anything like that?" Rollo squinted at the pool. His eyes narrowed. "Not natural. Not safe either." He grunted. "Things don't just show up overnight. Best leave it alone." "It's not just a pool," Marin said quickly. "I touched it. I saw Earth, but different. Cleaner. Better." Rollo shook his head. "This planet plays tricks. Heat and dust can make you see anything you want. Stay clear of it, kid. Strange things promise more than they give." But even as Rollo spoke, the pool shimmered brighter. A faint hum rose from its surface, soft and steady, like a heartbeat in the sand. Marin's gaze fixed on it. Something about that light felt inviting, almost gentle. Rollo stepped closer and grabbed Marin's arm. "Come on. We're heading back. Whatever this is, we report it to Ina first." Reluctantly, Marin turned away. Yet before leaving, he looked over his shoulder one last time. For a split second, he thought he saw movement within the pool, like a shadow waving to him. And in the back of his mind, a single word echoed, though no one had spoken it aloud: stay. The research base was quiet that night. Wind scraped dust against the walls, and the power generators hummed steadily. Inside, Marin sat alone in the small workshop, pretending to check his tools. In truth, his thoughts stayed outside by the glowing pool. Every time he blinked, he saw that vision again: Earth with clean rivers, peaceful streets, a sky so blue it hurt to look at. He could not forget it. Rollo's warning still echoed in his ears: strange things promise more than they give. But Marin kept thinking, what if it's real? What if I could go there? Ina walked into the workshop holding a scanner. She was younger than Rollo but spoke with calm authority. I heard you were outside longer than usual, she said. Power lines are stable. What kept you? Marin hesitated. I found something near the ridge. A pool. Not water. It glows. Ina frowned. A glowing pool? I didn't see any readings. Maybe the ridge blocks sensors, Marin said. We should check it out tomorrow. Ina nodded slowly, but her eyes stayed sharp. If it's what you say, we need to study it, not touch it. Understand? Marin forced a quick smile. Of course. He didn't mention what he saw when he touched it. That night, Marin could not sleep. The pool's image haunted him, bright and silent, like it was waiting. At midnight, he slipped out of the base alone. The desert air was cold, and stars spread across the sky like scattered glass. He reached the ridge and looked down. The pool glowed even brighter in darkness, as if it knew he had returned. All right, Marin whispered, crouching near the edge. What do you want from me? The light rippled, though there was no wind. And then, without sound, something touched his mind. A soft voice, calm and clear, stay. Marin gasped and stepped back. Who are you? He whispered. The surface of the pool shifted. This time the vision did not show Earth's streets, it showed Marin himself, standing on a balcony overlooking a shining city. He looked older, stronger, happier. People smiled at him as if he belonged. The voice came again, warm and gentle, we can give you what you dream. A life without struggle. A world without mistakes. Stay. Marin's heart pounded. How? The light pulsed but gave no answer. The vision faded, leaving only the glowing pool. The next morning, Ina and Rollo went out with scanning gear. Marin walked with them, pretending not to know exactly where to go. When they reached the ridge, the pool looked calm, almost ordinary, though nothing about its silver light was truly normal. Ina knelt with her scanner. Strong readings, she murmured. Not liquid. Not solid either. Energy field is shifting. Rollo crossed his arms. Told you it's bad news. Things like this never end well. Ina adjusted the scanner. No signs of danger yet. But we don't touch it. We observe first. She shot Marin a sharp look. Understood. Understood, Marin said, but his eyes stayed fixed on the pool. That evening, the base commander ordered them to keep watch from a distance until they knew more. Rollo grumbled about wasted time. Ina buried herself in the data. But Marin could not ignore the whisper. When no one was looking, he returned to the pool. The light grew warm as he approached, almost welcoming. What do you want me to do? He asked softly. The voice answered, help us. We help you. Images filled his mind, not just clean cities, but people laughing, living without fear, without hunger. It felt real, so real he almost reached out again. Then a shadow crossed the ridge. Rollo stood there, his face hard. I knew you'd sneak out, he said. Whatever that thing is, it's playing tricks on you. Stop listening to it. It showed me Earth, Marin argued. Not like before, better. Don't you want to see home like it should be? Rollo shook his head. I've lived long enough to know nothing gives you everything for free. Walk away before it takes more than you're willing to give. Marin clenched his fists. What if you're wrong? Rollo stepped closer, voice low. And what if I'm right? The pool shimmered brighter, as if reacting to their voices. The whisper returned, softer now but still clear in Marin's mind, "Stay, stay, stay." Night came again, colder and quieter than before. The research base lights glowed faintly against the desert, and the steady hum of the generators was the only sound inside. But outside, near the ridge, the strange pool pulsed with soft silver light as if alive. Marin lay on his bunk, staring at the ceiling. Sleep would not come. The voice still echoed in his mind, gentle, steady, "Stay, help us, we help you." He sat up, pulled on his boots, and slipped out without waking anyone. The air outside was sharp and dry, and the stars shone like tiny holes punched in the black sky. When Marin reached the ridge, the pool glowed brighter, as though it had been waiting. He crouched close. "Who are you?" he whispered. No words came this time, only a flicker in the silver surface. A shape moved inside, tall, thin, almost human but not clear. Marin's breath caught. He leaned closer. "Show yourself," he said. The pool rippled and the figure vanished. Marin waited, heart beating fast. The desert stayed silent. The next day, Ina returned to the site with new instruments. She was determined to map the energy signals properly. Rollo came too, though he clearly hated being near the pool. "This place gives me bad feelings," Rollo muttered, checking his tools. "No good comes from things that glow on their own." Ina ignored him. She studied the scanner screen. "The field's stronger at night," she said. "It changes, almost like it's breathing." "Breathing?" Marin asked. Ina nodded. "Energy is moving, not just staying in one shape. Like something inside is alive." Rollo grunted. "All the more reason to stay away." That evening, Ina stayed late in the lab to study the data. Marin wanted to help her, but his thoughts kept drifting to the pool. When everyone finally went to their rooms, he decided to check it one more time. The ridge was darker than usual. Thin clouds hid the stars, and the desert wind whispered over the sand. Marin crept closer and froze. Someone was already there. A slim figure stood by the pool, bent over as if speaking to it. The light reflected off her suit. Marin recognized Ina. "What are you doing here?" he called quietly. Ina turned quickly, surprised. "I could ask you the same," she said. "I wanted to see if anything changes when no one else is around." Marin walked down to her. "Did you hear it?" The voice. Ina frowned. "No. But I feel something. Like it wants us to listen." They stood together at the edge. The surface shifted. This time the glow shaped itself into an image, not Earth, not a city, but a dark tunnel with figures moving through it. Marin stepped back. "Did you see that?" Ina nodded, eyes wide. "They're coming from somewhere. This isn't just a hole in the ground. It's a doorway." The surface bent and bulged. Something rose halfway out, a person, or something that looked like one. Its form was clear now, tall, with smooth gray skin and bright eyes that glowed faintly in the night. It looked at them but said nothing. Marin swallowed hard. "Who are you?" The being tilted its head, as if learning how to see them. Then a soft voice echoed in Marin's mind again, "Stay, help us." Ina gasped. "Did you hear that?" Marin nodded. "It talks." Before either of them could speak again, heavy footsteps crunched on the ridge above. Rollo's voice came down, sharp and worried. "Marin." "Ina. What are you doing out here?" The figure from the pool sank back into the light and vanished. The surface smoothed instantly, calm and still, as if nothing had happened. Rollo climbed down the ridge, angry. "You two lost your minds? What if that thing's dangerous?" "It spoke to us," Marin said quickly. "It's not hostile." It asked for help. That's how trouble always starts, Rollo said. Sweet words, then bad endings. I've seen it before. Ina looked back at the pool. We need to tell the commander. This is bigger than any of us. Rollo grabbed Marin's arm. And you stay away from this thing. Do you hear me? Marin nodded but kept his eyes on the glowing surface. In his heart, he felt certain the voice had spoken to him alone and it wasn't finished yet. The base was tense the next morning. Commander Vero had called a meeting after Marin and Ina reported the strange activity near the ridge. Rollo stood with his arms crossed, frowning as he listened. We do not know what we are dealing with, Vero said firmly. It is tempting to ignore it, but this energy field could be dangerous. No one goes near it without approval. Marin felt a knot in his stomach. He wanted to speak, to explain the voice, the visions, but the words stuck in his throat. He knew the commander would dismiss it as imagination. After the meeting, Ina and Marin walked together toward the ridge under the pretense of checking equipment. Rollo followed behind, muttering warnings about curiosity and danger. When they reached the pool, it shimmered more brightly than before. Marin stepped closer, and the surface rippled. Then, a figure slowly emerged, smooth gray skin, glowing eyes, and a presence that felt calm, almost kind. I am Cyril, the being said, its voice clear in Marin's mind. I come from another place, a world similar to yours, where humanity avoided its mistakes. We offer you a choice. Marin froze. Choice, he whispered aloud. Yes, Cyril replied. We can take you across. A life where nothing is broken. Where your world is healed. But we need your help to keep the gateway stable. Your base's energy can sustain it long enough for you to cross. Rollo stepped forward, fists clenched. I knew it. Nothing good comes from glowing things. Step away, Marin. It's a trap. Marin looked at Cyril. And if I do nothing? Your world faces trials. Storms will come. People will suffer. This gift is not for your friends, only for those who choose to go. Ina's eyes widened. You mean, if we help, some can leave, but others stay? Yes, Cyril said. But you will live in a better place. Marin felt torn. The vision of a healed world burned in his mind, more real than the desert around him. He could almost feel the clean air on his face, hear laughter in the streets, smell flowers that did not wilt in dust. Rollo shook his head. You can't trust it? What's perfect for one is danger for many. We survive together, not alone. Cyril's light pulsed. You have time, Marin. Decide before the next storm arrives. We cannot wait forever. Marin stepped back, heart racing. He wanted the comfort, the safety, the life he had dreamed of for years. But Rollo's words echoed in his mind. We survive together. Ina studied the pool, scanning its surface. The energy is rising. If we manipulate it now, it could drain the base's reserves. That's dangerous. Cyril reached out with a thought, gentle but insistent. Your people may not last the coming days. You have a chance to escape. Marin's hands shook. He imagined leaving the desert, leaving the storms, leaving the hardships behind. For a moment, he felt the pull of the promise. It was easy to believe he could be safe, happy, and free. Rollo grabbed his shoulder. Don't do it, Marin. Whatever it offers, it's not real life. It's an illusion. Marin looked from Rollo to Cyril. His heart pulled one way, his mind another. He realized the choice was not only about him. The pool offered safety, but only for himself. To take it would mean abandoning the others. Why me? Marin asked quietly. Why now? Because you listen, Cyril said. Because you can act. Others are afraid or stubborn. You have the courage to decide. Marin swallowed hard. Courage or fear? Comfort or loyalty? He stepped back from the edge. I. I can't, he said finally. I can't leave the others behind. Cyril's form shimmered. Then you are ready to fight, not flee. Your strength lies in choosing humanity over ease. The being slowly sank back into the pool. The silver surface smoothed again, calm and still. Marin breathed deeply, trying to steady his racing heart. He looked at Rollo and Ina. We need to prepare, he said. Whatever that storm is, we face it together. No shortcuts, no illusions. Rollo nodded, a small relief in his eyes. Ina kept her eyes on the pool, scanning for signs it might return. Marin felt the weight of the decision still pressing in his chest. The temptation had been real, stronger than anything he had felt before. But for the first time, he understood the strength of staying, of protecting others, even if it meant giving up something he wanted deeply. The desert stretched around them, quiet and still, but Marin knew that the calm would not last. Something was coming, and they had to be ready. The sky had turned an angry orange by midday. Dust swirled across the desert like a living wave, and the horizon shook with the approaching storm. The base trembled under the wind, and the generators hummed louder as if warning them of what was coming. Marin, Ina, and Rollo stood near the edge of the base, watching the horizon. The pool at the ridge shimmered faintly, its silver light struggling against the storm's shadow. We need to secure everything, Rollo said, tightening straps on equipment. The storm isn't natural. It's something else. And that pool is connected. Ina nodded, scanning the readings. The energy from the pool is rising faster than before. If it continues, it could interfere with our systems, or worse. Marin felt a shiver run down his spine. The pool had not called to him since the last night, yet its presence was stronger than ever. He could almost feel the pull in his chest, urging him to go, to touch it again. Rollo caught him staring. Don't. Whatever it wants, it's not your choice to satisfy. Marin nodded but kept glancing toward the glowing surface. By nightfall, the storm had reached the base. Wind screamed over the walls, sand whipped against the doors, and alarms rang through the corridors. The team moved quickly, securing machinery and reinforcing the exterior panels. Inside the control room, Ina monitored the pool's energy. It's reacting to the storm, she said. Look, fluctuations are spreading through our power grid. Rollo slammed a hand on the table. I told you. That thing is dangerous. Shut it down. Marin hesitated. What if it's trying to open fully, to show us something? Or to destroy us, Rollo growled. The pool's light suddenly surged, brighter than ever, visible even through the storm. Marin felt it calling to him again. The voice whispered in his mind, help, stay, choose. Marin's heart raced. He could imagine stepping into the pool, leaving the storm, leaving the danger behind. But Rollo and Ina were here. Others depended on them. A shadow moved across the pool. Marin's breath caught. He realized he was not the only one watching. Figures were emerging from the glowing surface, their gray skin gleaming faintly in the silver light. They stepped slowly, like they were learning how to walk in this world. Cyril. Marin whispered. One of the beings raised a hand. The voice in his mind spoke again, we need help. Open the gate fully. We can show you safety. Rollo grabbed Marin's shoulder. Don't you dare. But Marin felt torn. The temptation was almost unbearable. The storm roared around them, dust swirling like fire, and the pool's light seemed to promise comfort and warmth. Think of what it offers, Marin said quietly. A world without pain, without fear. Think of what it demands, Rollo snapped. Only you. Alone. And the rest of us are left to die. Marin swallowed. He could see the truth in Rollo's words. The storm outside was real. The pool's promise was beautiful but selfish. If he helped, it might save him, maybe only him, but the base, the team, everyone else would be at risk. Suddenly, the figures moved faster. The pool glowed fiercely. Alarms screamed. The energy readings went off the charts. We have to shut it down. Ina yelled. If it draws more power, the entire base could fail. Marin nodded, pulling himself away from the ridge. The being's eyes followed him, glowing bright, almost pleading. Rollo grabbed a power controller. Marin, help me redirect the energy. If we overload the lines, we can collapse the pool. The wind howled around them, rattling doors and windows. Marin took a deep breath and followed Rollo. Sparks flew from the control panels as they rerouted power from the main grid toward the pool. The pool roared, light bursting like a miniature sun. The figures writhed, reaching toward the ridge. Marin's heart pounded in fear and determination. He realized this was the moment, the choice between temptation and duty, safety and loyalty. As the first blasts of sandstorm hit the ridge, Marin pressed the final switch. The pool flared violently, then collapsed inward, draining its light into the ground. The figures vanished. The silver glow faded, leaving only a quiet crater in the desert. The storm outside continued, but the base trembled less. Alarms still blared, but the danger from the pool had passed, for now. Marin stepped back, chest heaving. It's done, he whispered. Rollo patted his shoulder. You did right. Temptation is easy. Staying with your people, that's real strength. Ina nodded, scanning the area. We need to repair the base and prepare for the storm. But we've survived this, together. Marin looked toward the empty crater, feeling the pull of what had been promised: safety, comfort, a perfect world. And yet, he knew the choice had been right. Humanity's strength wasn't in escaping danger, it was in facing it, together. The desert was quiet now, but the storm had left its mark. Dust covered the base walls, sand blocked some entrances, and machines groaned under the strain. Inside, Marin, Ina, and Rollo worked quickly to repair what they could. The pool crater lay a short distance away, silent and empty. Marin kept glancing toward it. He knew the temptation had not completely vanished. The pool had promised a better life, and a small part of him still wished he had gone with it. Are you all right? Ina asked, noticing his distant gaze. Marin nodded, though he was not sure. I'm thinking about what we did, and what we didn't do. Rollo came over, holding a tool. We stayed, didn't we? That's what counts. Temptation is strong, but strength is stronger. Suddenly, the ground trembled. The empty crater glowed faintly again. Marin froze. A ripple ran across the surface, and before anyone could react, a shadow rose from the center. The pool was coming back, or something else was. Figures stepped out of the silver light, taller and darker than before. Their eyes glowed like lanterns, but they were different from Cyril. These beings moved quickly, scanning the base. It's them, Marin whispered. The one Cyril didn't warn us about. Ina grabbed a scanner. They're not like before. They could be dangerous. Rollo tightened his grip on a tool, ready to defend. Everyone, get inside. Now. The team ran to the base as the beings approached. They moved with purpose, their gray forms smooth and silent. The pool's light pulsed, as if encouraging them to come closer. Marin felt the whisper again, soft but insistent, come, leave, safe. He shook his head. No, he said aloud. We face this together. Inside the base, the commander's voice echoed over the intercom, all personnel, report to the control room. Prepare defensive measures. Marin, Ina, and Rollo reached the room, panting. The other technicians were already there, wide-eyed and nervous. Outside, the beings moved closer, their light reflecting on the metal walls. "They want something," Ina said. "But what?" The voice returned, but not just to Marin, it filled the room. "You can leave. Cross to safety. Or stay and be destroyed." Marin clenched his fists. He realized the pool's promise had been the same: leave the storm behind, leave danger behind, but only for him. Everyone else would remain. Rollo put a hand on his shoulder. "We fight. That's what humans do. We don't abandon our own." Marin took a deep breath. Courage surged through him, stronger than the fear. He nodded. "We fight. Together." They moved to the main power console. The beings pressed closer, their glowing eyes following every movement. Marin, Ina, and Rollo worked quickly, rerouting energy to create a feedback loop, not to escape, but to collapse the pool once and for all. The beings reacted immediately, surging forward. The pool's light flared, brighter than ever, almost blinding. Marin pressed the final switch. The room shook, sparks flew, and the beings screamed in a strange, echoing sound before vanishing into the crater. The silver glow collapsed inward, leaving only a faint shimmer on the desert floor. The air went still, and the storm's echoes faded. Marin sank into a chair, breathing hard. "It's done," he whispered. Rollo nodded, bruised but steady. "We chose humanity over temptation. That's why we're still here." Ina scanned the energy readings. "The pool is gone, at least for now. But it was strong, far stronger than anything we've ever seen." Marin looked around at his team, at the base battered by wind and sand. For a moment, he thought of Cyril's offer again. A life without fear, without struggle, and then he shook his head. The choice had been clear. "We could have escaped," he said softly. "But leaving others behind, that's not who we are." Rollo smiled faintly. "Exactly. That's what makes humans special. We protect each other, even when it's hard. Even when it's tempting to run." The team began checking the systems, repairing what they could. Outside, the desert was calm. The crater where the pool had been lay silent, a reminder of the choice Marin had made. For the first time in months, he felt a quiet pride. Humanity's strength was not in perfect worlds or easy lives. It was in facing danger together, in making the right choice even when it hurt, and in protecting those who could not protect themselves. Marin looked out a window at the dark horizon. Somewhere beyond the desert, life continued. Storms would come, challenges would rise, and temptation would return. But humans would survive. And together, they would rise stronger. The desert lay silent under a moonless sky. The wind no longer screamed, and the sand settled in gentle waves across the ridges. The base was damaged but standing. Inside, Marin, Ina, and Rollo moved through the corridors, checking systems and repairing walls torn by the storm. The crater where the pool had been glowed faintly, silver light shimmering at its edges, as if reluctant to vanish completely. Marin stood at a window, staring down. He could still feel the pull of the pool in his chest, the temptation of safety, ease, and a perfect life, but he also felt pride in their choice. "It's quiet," Ina said, joining him. "Too quiet, maybe." Marin nodded. "It's over, for now. We made the right choice." Rollo appeared behind them, holding a tool. "Right choice doesn't mean easy. We have a lot of work to do. The storm may have passed, but the desert is still dangerous." The next night, the pool stirred again. A soft ripple ran across the crater, and Marin felt a familiar whisper, "We will return, stay ready." He clenched his fists. "Not today," he said. Ina scanned the readings. "It's weaker. Whatever was in there is fading. But it could come back." Rollo placed a hand on Marin's shoulder. "And if it does, we'll face it, like we did tonight. Together." Marin looked at his companions. he realized that the strength Cyril and the pool had tempted him with was nothing compared to the courage humans had in standing together. Suddenly, a small tremor shook the base. Dust fell from the ceilings. Marin and the others ran to the main control room, where alarms were flashing. "It's the pool!" Marin shouted. "It's trying to rise again." Ina's fingers flew over the scanner. "The energy is draining from the base, being pulled toward the crater. If it continues, it could destabilize the reactors." Rollo's face darkened. "We can't let it happen. We have to finish it permanently." Marin nodded, determination in his eyes. They gathered in the control room, working quickly to reroute all available energy toward the pool. Sparks flew as systems overloaded. Outside, the pool's glow flared violently, light spilling over the desert like a second sun. Figures rose from the pool, but this time they moved slower, weaker. The creatures Cyril had promised were now struggling against the human will. Marin pressed the final switch, and the base shook with the surge of energy. The pool erupted in a bright flash, then collapsed inward. The figures screamed, but the sound faded quickly as they were pulled back into the crater. The silver light drained completely, leaving only smooth, lifeless sand behind. Marin sank to the floor, exhausted. Ina leaned against the console, breathing heavily. Rollo wiped sweat from his forehead. Outside, the desert was calm again, the crater silent. "It's done," Marin whispered. "They're gone." Ina nodded. "For now. But we need to stay alert. Whatever it was, it won't be easy to forget." Rollo smiled faintly. "Neither will the choice we made. You could have escaped. But you stayed. We stayed. That's what makes humans strong. That's what makes us, human." Marin looked around at the base, at the team who had survived the storm, the temptation, and the threat. He felt a deep sense of pride. Humanity's strength was not in avoiding danger or seeking perfect worlds. It was in facing hardship, protecting others, and choosing courage over comfort. He turned back to the crater one last time. The desert stretched endlessly beyond it, quiet and still. Somewhere out there, Cyril's world existed, a place of safety and perfection. But Marin knew that life here, with all its danger and struggle, was real. And together, humans would rise, survive, and thrive. The wind picked up gently, carrying grains of sand across the desert. Marin smiled. He could feel the pulse of life in the base, in his team, in himself. Temptation had come and gone, but humanity had endured. And as the stars twinkled over the desert, Marin knew this was just the beginning. The pool was gone. The danger had passed. But the lessons remained. Strength, courage, and loyalty, these were the gifts humans held, not from another world, but from themselves. Marin turned away from the crater, joining Ina and Rollo. Together, they walked back into the base. Outside, the desert stretched on, endless and challenging. Inside, humanity was ready for whatever came next.